While rookie investors fight for scraps on Zillow and the MLS, tax deed investors are scooping up property up to 65% below market value at tax deed auctions. This is a bit of a frenzy, and the cool thing is these are mortgage-free properties. The challenge is most people have no idea how tax deed investing works, and to be fair, that's kind of a good thing because it is a wide open opportunity for you to be able to buy some property, sometimes dirt cheap. Now, warning, sure, sometimes things get bid up, but what I have for you today is a live example of a property that just sold 65% below market value. It's a $265,000 house, and this thing was an amazing deal that I want to walk you through here today with Josh. We're going to jump to it here in a second. More importantly, though, these types of deals exist if you're willing to put in a little bit of elbow grease. Sure, maybe tax deed investing isn't the most glamorous business out there. It might be a little bit boring, but you know what? If you can roll up your sleeves, do a little bit of research, this boring work could have you owning a property for 60, 70% below market value that could change your life, create residual income for yourself, rental income. Maybe you want to use it to get out of your job or do this stuff part-time to transition into it full-time. Tax deed investing did that for me years ago. If you know my story, it's Dustin Hahn here, and I was working on an oil rig, hating life, and this business really allowed me to get out of that oil rig job and live by the beach in California. Was a true success story, and I actually got my first deal just 2 days after learning about tax deed investing. So for you guys watching here today, sometimes you can even buy property over the counter that didn't sell at a tax deed sale. Literally, you could have some of that by the end of the day if you went and got the right list. Now, once again, it does take a little bit of work. This isn't a get rich quick tourism business. It does require a little bit of effort, but I want to walk you through some of these cool deals here that came up. If you're new to the channel, it's Dustin Hahn. This channel is here to help tax lien and deed investors find amazing deals and make money with tax liens and deeds. Our claim to fame is this is the top channel on tax liens and deeds. We have about 104,000 subscribers and 3,300 videos helping you learn how to do this. This is a resource I wish I had when I got started, and it is here to help you. So I'm going to cut right now to our live stream where we went over where this property was and how it sold and how you could jump into these deals as well. So let's cut over to Josh and take a look at this cool tax deed deal.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so we went to Harris County here in January, and I would say that January each year is probably one of the best auctions that you can attend. And the biggest reason being that a lot of people, they aren't actually back into the swing of things. This auction would have been the first Tuesday of January. So a lot of people were still maybe recovering from New Year's. A lot of people might just be getting back to work, back in the swing of things. But each year, January is the lightest auction at Harris County. And so we're already primed to be at one of the best auctions. And so the timing was perfect. And it's not every day that something in Harris County is selling for 35 cents on the dollar. And so I'm just going to walk you through this example. This property did sell on Tuesday. So already in 2026, we're seeing really good deals. A lot of people say the space is too competitive, but here we're to disprove that and show you this exceptional deal, 35 cents on the dollar, meaning that, the upside is huge. So here's our max bid sheet. And I want to show you this property. It's 16826 Clan McIntosh Drive. Now, if you've been following our channel for a while, you might notice that this says HOA right here. And so immediately a bit of a red flag, right? Because a lot of times we say, buyer beware with HOAs, or there's a lot of risk, or to avoid HOAs. But the thing is that this can actually be a really good deal if you know what you're doing and you're able to identify all of the potential risks. And the list started, let me just show you what it looked like at the beginning. This is the full list. So if it's red, that's no deal. I'm using the AI just to build us formulas, which is really cool. It did a lot of the heavy lifting, the legwork for us. And then if it's yellow, could be potential deal. There's a decent amount of upside, but it's a bit tight. And then green, of course, is really good. And so with an HOA sale, what that means is nothing is going to get wiped at the auction other than the HOA fees. And it's really crazy in Texas that the HOA can actually foreclose on your property. And so that's not going to affect the mortgage. It's not going to affect the taxes. It's not going to affect liens. The only thing that's going to get wiped is the money that the HOA is due. And so we opened up the court record. This was a really wild case because it started with $400. That's how this story began. $400 is how he got in trouble with the HOA. At that price, it's probably something really small. But what happens is once attorneys start to work on the case, as you know, attorneys cost $200 an hour, $300, $400, $500 an hour. And so even though the fine with the HOA started at $400, next thing you know, it snowballs into a minimum bid of $7,000. And so we opened up the court record. It was about $5,000 in legal fees, which is, that's pretty high. You start with $400 for something small, snowballs into $7,000, and it's headed to the auction. Now, since nothing gets wiped, a lot of these properties do have mortgages with high balances. So a lot of these HOA deals, you'll see that the mortgage balance could be like, here's one, $419,000 in a mortgage balance. So it doesn't get wiped because it's an HOA. It's at the tax sale, but it's not a tax sale property. And so that's how it can be really tricky, because a lot of times people don't know about all of these mortgage balances and they get hit with it down the road. Here's $311,000. So when you find a property going to auction that has no mortgage, it's almost too good to be true. As you can see right here in our sheet, $0 on the mortgage. Now, what made this one really tricky, and the reason why I think it was such a good deal, is when we did our initial title search, because you got to go ahead and you got to lift the hood, right, of the engine. You got to check the engine. You got to see what's going on this property. When we did a title search, we thought that maybe there was a mortgage balance. So let me take it to PropWire for you, and I'll show you why. If you haven't used PropWire before, it's a free resource that we use all the time. Here's the property. Now, what it says is there is a more $4,000. And again, this is all public information. None of this is private. It shows that there's a mortgage. And so when we did a title search, we saw the mortgage, but we didn't see a release, meaning that it's still intact. It hasn't gone anywhere. But one of the things about Harris County, and this is where you do title searches, is that there are some potential pitfalls. There are some weaknesses in the county. And so when I first started doing title searches, I would compare my title searches to a title company, and I noticed that they were finding things that I wasn't finding. And so just through trial and error and kind of years of being in the space, started to notice at times the county actually would misspell information, making it really hard to track down. And so the subdivision name, that's one of the ways that you search. See that it says Glen Cairn. So when you do a title search, you need this information, and you also need the owner's name. They had misspelled both of these things. And so when we did a quick search, we didn't see a release. So at face value, we thought, okay, the mortgage is still intact, still maybe around $54,000 in a mortgage. But we have ways of getting a bit deeper and making sure that the county doesn't have any spelling errors, or it didn't misplace or misfile any of the documents. And so we did find the release. So now we realize, okay, wow, this property has an opening bid of $7,000. It's worth around $265,000, and there's no mortgage on it. So we're like, wow, this is going to be a really good deal. So let me go ahead and pull it up on Zillow as well. And so we use Zillow kind of lightly, kind of loosely. It's just one of the tools, but there are photos here from when the property was a rental. So the property was a rental. It doesn't look like it's in bad shape at all. There's some photos of it. And then we also drove the property. And so here's the property right here. You can see that the garage is open. They're taking good care of the property. And so all the bells and whistles were checked. And let me show you what this ended up selling for at the auction. So it's worth $265,000. We set aside $65,000 for rehab, which is extremely generous by any hit. But it's selling for $95,000, which is 35% of $265,000. And so in the year 2026, just in January alone, we saw a crazy deal right out of the gate. I mean, you can't get this stuff on the MLS. You can't get it on the market. worth 265, no mortgage on the property. So January was the time to be at Harris County because that's a crazy deal. There's a lot of upside there. And I would say that whoever bought this for 95 grand, they could turn around. I mean, this thing is already rental ready. They could turn around and sell it for like 170, 180, something like that. I mean, they could make a significant amount of money right off the bat. And so I was just really surprised with that deal, really surprised, A, what happened with the title search, and then B, just that this property actually went to auction. You would think that it wouldn't because there's so much equity in it. But we do work HOAs every month. We always say this probably won't make it to the auction. But in this case, this is one we did not think would get it to the finish line. And it did. So what an incredible case study. Somebody got a really good deal. And yeah, hopefully that just inspires someone to take action because, yeah, ton of upside there.
All right, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I have a free gift for you for watching a free mini course called The ABCs of Tax Lien and Deed Investing. This is one of the best books on tax liens, and it is totally free as my gift to you for watching. In the description below, it'll walk you through tax liens from start to finish, along with the directories with all 1,500 tax lien and deed counties put here so that you don't have to go and search around the internet to find them on your own. So the other thing I have is, if you already have this book and you want to do a deep dive, my team and I have found an auction with a whole bunch of properties worth 200 to 300 grand, opening bids of just 1,600 bucks. So if you want to deep dive and attend an auction with some help, you can also schedule a free call below and we can discuss helping you in this business. Regardless, thanks for watching. You can check things out in the description below and enjoy the videos. We'll see you soon.